Well, good evening and welcome to week 3 of the Friday Night Blitz post-game show. Ray Halbrook here from live stream STL Media. Hope everybody's having a great evening, and we hope to be getting all of our games are almost in finals. We've got 2 more games here that we're looking into. And before we get started, thanks for being with us. We appreciate that. Do us a huge favor, like and share this if you're out on the socials. We would love that. We appreciate that as well. And we're awaiting coaches to jump on board here as well, along with some of our commentators. And as we're waiting, I will throw up some of the scores here and read off the score sheet. Thank you, Jeff Whitener from Blue Tiger Media, to get us all these schedules and these scores here. Festus defeats Windsor 49-14. Jefferson defeats Herculaneum 35-7. Eureka wins 37-0 over Hazelwood Central. Hillsborough gets their big first win of the 2024 season here, 37-7 over Washington. North County defeats DeSoto by the score of 42-14. St. Vincent comes back and beats Perryville 29-25. Perryville was winning that game. They were in shutout mode there for a little while there too. Bayless is winning. Last I looked here, it's 34-30 in the fourth quarter. There was just only a couple more minutes left there. We don't have an update between Knob Noster and St. Pius. We have a score of 8-2. That's more like a baseball game. But we have Oakville and Summit. Rockwood Summit defeats Oakville 28-25. Seckman, a big win, 41-7 over Northwest. We have Saturday games also. Grandview is at Cuba. Fox is at Rittner. I have the Jeff Whitener on the line here. Jeffrey, how you doing, my friend?
Ray, another great night of high school football in the area. Exciting games, some blowouts, of course, just what you would expect, but also some great games, some torrential downpours. Hope everybody made it home safely or is on their way home. And hopefully we'll get some coaches to call in tonight and give us their perspective on how things went.
Right. Yeah, we put out the text to all the coaches. So hopefully if you're next to a coach, say, hey, coach, we need you to get on Friday Night Blitz post game. So that'd be great there. But we were over at Herculaneum and you were kind of tabulating and texted me back and forth in that particular game. And you mentioned something to me that I thought was quite intriguing there. You said that, that this 35-7 score definitely does not fit the bill, according to your thoughts. So I'm going to give you a second to elaborate on that.
And watching the game from my vantage point, Ray, it appeared to me that from an effort standpoint, an execution standpoint, the score really didn't tell the story of the game. I would tell you, and I would be willing to bet if you got Coach Atley on the line here tonight for the Jefferson Blue Jays, he would probably tell you he was not pleased with the effort and execution of the team tonight. Too many costly penalties, 3 procedure penalties in a row there that just almost killed the drive if it weren't for a lucky play. Right. Herky came out and gave it everything that they had. Carson Hafner played a great first half, then he got injured. And then you see him coming out, he was unable to play the second half, and that really took away the tackles threat for the Blue Jays. They've got some bangers who can run inside with Tyler Crater and the like, but they weren't able to turn the corner from that running back position like they had been in the first half, and that meant a lot. That meant that Herky could really kind of clog the field more, and they really slowed down the running game of the Blue Jays. It's one of those deals where it's 35-7, but it could have just easily have been 22-18. In my opinion, when you look at the effort and execution for both teams. I think Herky played better than 7 points, and I think Jefferson didn't play quite as good and was lucky to have those 35 points.
Well, and then the funny thing is, and I'm trying to do an update here. Oh, we are updated here real quick. So some of the scores you gave me were weren't updated on the ticker here, so we will get that updated as we can.
Yeah,
We
the
can.
ticker,
So.
I wasn't able to update the ticker on the last shot there. So what you've got on your screenshot is the latest scores.
Okay, cool. So I will try to bring that in. That would be really nice if I was able to do that. Obviously, I can't do that quite yet because I just got it transferred over here from my phone. So no big deal. But while we're waiting here a little bit more, you know, I really thought that the weather was going to play a huge part into all of these games tonight, and I think some of it played a little bit, but for the most part, from what I've saw, especially for our triple header today, the teams that were favored to win did win, and I feel like it wasn't anything close, unfortunately, for the folks on the losing end of those three games.
Yeah, Ray, I'm hoping to get some stats this week from the Festus offense. Last two games, they've been great about getting those defensive stats in right away. But I would love to see the stats. I know, number one, watching the game, Festus Estienne Smith, number one, he ran wild in that first half against the Windsor Owls defense, and I would love to see how many yards he was able to rack up. And he's certainly a guy that'll be on my radar if we can get some stats for Player of the Week.
There you go. Yeah, we're already got to start thinking about Player of the Week for
upon
further review. By the way, if you haven't checked out Upon Further Review, we pre-record some of that, and that'll be probably out Monday evening. We're hoping. So if we can get everybody to jump on board and get these interviews taken care of in a timely manner, so to speak, and most of our coaches, ADs, do such a great job of accommodating us and whatnot. And so anyway, again, if you're next to a coach, tell them to call in. Tell them we sent out the actual link here, and I'm hoping that it made out to everybody because I sent it out from the iPad, but for some crazy reason my phone is not saying that it went through. So I think what I may do is retext this out again. We are live, coaches.
This is a perfect chance for the folks that are watching at home, the viewers, to help us out here. This is a fan-oriented show. You can make a comments on the Facebook line there, and Ray will look. But this is your situation. Give us a hand there. If you're around a coach, if you've got a coach's number, text him real quick and say, hey, Ray's trying to get a hold of you. We'd like to hear about your game tonight.
Yeah, we even had a situation last week with a couple coaches because they were in kind of some silly cell area. They were calling in on the phone, and we'll take your phone call on the phone. That's fine too. So we're calling you out, coaches.
Whatever way we do this, Ray, just looking at the scores while we're waiting for some of the guys to call in, our three games, like you say, there weren't really any surprises there. Right. The favorites were expected to win. If we go down the list here, looking at Hillsborough beating Washington 37-7, that was an important big win for Hillsborough coming back. And that game was scoreless for quite a while before Hillsborough was able to make some adjustments on offense and start cracking the defense of Washington. North County 42, DeSoto 14. DeSoto played a pretty strong first half in that game, and they were able to, North County was just able to wear them down in the second half and win there. St. Vincent Perryville, we're hoping that the Perryville coach calls in like he did last week. Love to get him on the line, as I hear someone's trying to call in.
Yeah, we got two. We got a coach and B-Cap on here too at the same time. So, Brian, hold on there. We're going to get Coach Matt Atlee in here real quick. Coach Atlee, how are you, sir?
Good. How are you guys?
Hey, okay. So I want to know where you're calling from.
Well, we're at Herky right now. We just finished playing them.
Okay.
A little bit ago.
Yeah, I left a little bit.
Load the buses.
Okay, calling from the bus. I love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Give us a little, a little background on the game. I know you guys had a real good first half in your 35-7 win over Herculaneum.
Yeah, I mean, we came out. We put together a good drive on offense, which you got to love. We've started slow the past couple weeks, and that was kind of a big point of emphasis this week, is to not start slow. And so we got out to a good start. Defensively struggled. They came out and did some stuff we weren't really ready for. And honestly, they ran right at us and took it to us. And our kids weren't ready for it. And they had a big play to start the game and made it 7-7. And, we responded and were able to force some turnovers and get the ball back and just kind of keep adding the points. So,
yeah. We really thought it was going to end up being a barn burner there in the first, 10 minutes of the game. I was like, okay, they're scoring, they're scoring. And I know we had a big injury over there on your end, Carson Hafner. You got any status on him that you can share with us at all?
No, not yet. I mean, it's probably something with his ankle.
Okay.
They're going to go get it checked out, and we'll go from there.
Okay, cool. Weather, we really kind of thought weather might play, a little bit into the game. Second half, maybe a little bit, because that's when it really kind of started raining. But, what was your thoughts? Were you guys having problems moving the ball at all?
I don't think the weather was an issue. Honestly, I was pretty happy with the way we ran the ball tonight. I know Carson had some big runs, Landon Weiss, Tyler Crater, Cooper Frisk. It was kind of by committee. We had a pretty good day running the ball. And, when the weather's a factor, you got to be able to run the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I do have Jeff Whitener on the line. Jeff, you got a question for
I do, Coach. First of all, congratulations on the win. It's always, there's always some intangibles when you're playing a big rival. In this case, Herky for the Blue Jays. But talk a little bit about, because I know even though you won that game, the score maybe wasn't indicative, in my opinion, at least, of that game was probably a little closer than what the score showed. And talk a little bit about, some of the mistakes, some of the miscues, some of the penalties, and what you're going to be able to do to go back to practice next week and try to get some of that cleaned up.
Yeah, we obviously had too many penalties, and I know some of them were good calls, and we got to fix those. But it was kind of back and forth early on. They did some stuff really well. We did some stuff really well. We just kind of got locked in on our run game, and we were able to make some good adjustments and keep pushing forward. Defense came up with a couple huge turnovers, which really helped. It's not like they didn't have yards. They got yards. They marched the field on us a lot. We got to fix that, but we were able to kind of get the ball back and kind of bend but not break, if you will.
There you go. Well, I hear the bus is about ready to leave here too. So we don't want to leave him on here too long.
Well, we got a big boy scoop and score tonight, Coach. You got to love that.
Yeah, I know. I think it was Wyatt Place. To be honest with you, I still am not really sure who it was. I think it was Wyatt, though, because he keeps talking about it.
I think it was Wyatt. I think you're right, Wyatt. Yes, sir.
But, guys, I appreciate it. I'm going to
thank you.
Get back to getting the truck to school, so the bus is waiting on me.
There you go. We appreciate the time. Thanks for calling in. We appreciate that there. Matt Atlee there from the Jefferson Blue Jays. And I'm going to bring in Brian Kaplinger here in just a quick second here. Brian, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Hey, every week I tune in and I hear a different person doing color that I didn't hire for that night. So
that's right.
We have Charles Partney jumping in there. How did he do last night or tonight?
He did good. I was a little interested. Basketball is really more his forte, and so jumping into football was a little bit different for him.
Yeah.
But his son Elijah Partney was out helping me produce tonight, and so he's like, "Hey, can I jump in?" And I'm like, "Hey, the more the merrier, right?"
Right on.
I'm
right
trying
on.
to
right
recruit
on.
talent for you left and right, right?
Yep. You've got the Eureka Hazelwood Central game there. Eureka, a 37-0 win over Hazelwood Central. Sounds like they continue their dominance there.
Yeah. Really the MVP of the night really was the Wildcat defense. They just stifled Hazelwood. Now I want to give, some love to Hazelwood Central. I talked with Coach Wells earlier in the week, and he told me that they had already lost their 1 and 2 quarterbacks for the season.
Wow.
And so they were starting Bright, who really isn't a quarterback, but they were just kind of at that place. And then early in the fourth quarter, Bright goes down with what looks like a cramp, but they couldn't get it worked out and actually had to carry him off the field. And so it was, kind of just worst case scenario for Hazelwood Central. I mean, they're facing a juggernaut in a team so far early in the season in Eureka, and then you're already down a couple quarterbacks. You lose your quarterback in the game. They made some nice plays throughout the game, but it was really the pre-snap penalties that really set them back quite a bit. And then this defense, for the second week in a row, gets a safety, and really just kind of shut the run game down. I mean, there was somebody in the backfield almost every play for the Wildcats. And then I think the big play of the night was a trick play that the Wildcats pulled off. Hobelman pitched it to Kodak, who looked like he was going to go on a sweep, and he just pulled up and threw a 61-yard strike down the field and hit the receiver in stride, Trace Rivers. And it was just, I mean, it was the thing, like when you draw up those trick plays, you never imagine them working so well. And then when it unfolds on the field, it was just like you could almost tell right from the get-go that's how the night was going to go for Hazelwood Central.
Little backyard football going on there, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Shoot, how about that? Trying to think, what was the question? Any injuries that you saw during the night?
I mean, like I said, outside of Alan Bright for Hazelwood Central, who was their quarterback on the night, nothing major. I thought it would cool off. We had a bit of rain before the game started, but it really just made it muggy, humid out there on the field. And so you saw a lot of guys cramping up, but they were able to kind of get off the field, get back in. The only one, Bright, there, like I said, just couldn't get off the field and ended up being carried off. And so I'll be kind of monitoring that situation for Hazelwood Central. I hope for that young man that it's nothing major and he can get back out there, because he showed flashes for someone that's not been playing quarterback all year. Right. Showed a lot of flash. He was pretty consistent with his slant pass. The only thing he probably needs a little bit of work on is just deep play recognition, throwing the ball down the field. Got away from him a couple times. But other than that, I mean, for someone that maybe had a week of practice at the quarterback spot, he might have a future there.
There you go. I like it. We did have somebody call in here, so I'm going to text to make sure that we're still good to have him in there. It was actually Bill Saharsky from Hillsboro. Got their first win tonight. And so, Mr. Saharsky, are we okay to call you back? I love text to speech.
It makes it easy, that's for sure.
It does. Jeff Whitener's over on the other side over here too. Jeff, you got any questions over here for Brian?
Oh, first question I had was, how was the weather? I was trying to monitor all the games tonight, and of course had the classic torrential monsoon there for a while over at Imperial there at the Windsor Festus game. How did the weather come into effect out there at Eureka?
I mean, really, it didn't. Like I said, it rained a little bit before we got started, but cleared up for the start of the game. And about midway through the fourth, we had hit the running clock scenario. We did get a nice downpour, but it wasn't monsoon level. It was enough to send some fans scattering for cover, but seemed to die out pretty quick. And by that point, it was really just kind of Hutchcraft was in the game for Eureka, handing off to Webb, and they were just eating clock as, again, it was a running clock, so they weren't trying to stop it at all.
Brian, we talk about, when we're talking about Eureka, we talk about your Hobelman, the quarterback. We talk about Kodak, the back, and we talk about Big Lang up front, the Mizzou commit and their offense and what they could do, and obviously put 37 points out tonight. But I really think that this Wildcat team, their defense is the dominant force. And I really think that this defense is built to go a long way through the districts and on, hopefully, for Eureka to state competition. The offense will be able to do enough against the really high caliber schools, in my opinion. They can throw the ball. They can just play ground and pound, smash mouth, in your face football. But the defense has been on point, Brian. Talk a little bit about their defense tonight.
I mean, you said it. They're front seven on the defensive side. They typically play like a 3-4 defense, really 3 down linemen, 4 linebackers. I mean, and a lot of them, I mean, they can rotate in on that defensive line and still cause a lot of havoc. You talk about Ashby, who's on the edge of that defensive line, and I'm telling you, he runs down quarterbacks with speed. And so that's always going to keep them in a game. I mean, they're going to be able to get in the backfield. You saw it tonight. I mean, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I would venture to say is probably less than 20 yards rushing for the Hawks tonight because that defense just shut them down. I mean, there were a couple big runs, but then there was constantly, 3, 4, 5 yard loss or a sack for 10 plus yards. The biggest question to me is Hazelwood was able to get some momentum on drives through the passing game, especially that quick pass. And so I'm going to be watching to see if some other teams try and take advantage of those quick outs, those slants over the middle, because I think that's where the inexperience for this Wildcats defense is. That's going to have to get a lot better as they go through the season. I think it's doable for this team, but they're going to have to kind of get some help. Maybe instead of blitzing all the time with the linebackers, tonight's game, you could tell their game plan was just to blitz and get in the backfield, but they're going to have to cover a little bit when you start playing a little bit better teams like Lafayette and some of the other ones on their schedule that can throw the ball and are a little bit more balanced.
And the Wildcats have Fox next week. They travel to Arnold to play the Fox Warriors, who are actually playing their game tomorrow at Rittner. Fox primarily a running team, so that'll be very interesting to see how Eureka is able to modify their defense to stop the ground attack from the Warriors there. Just looking around, I want to get your opinion on some of these other games, Cap, if I could. Windsor and Festus, Festus came right out of the gate and scored, 5 straight touchdowns. Wasn't bothered by the monsoon. It could have been dry. It could have been sunny and 70 degrees outside, and it wasn't going to stop Estienne Smith and with the ball. When you see the score like that against Windsor, what are your thoughts in that game?
Well, I mean, I think you said it. Smith looks to me to be special. I mean, I haven't seen a whole lot in person this year of him, but just watching some of the replays, watching the games later, and again, I haven't been able to see tonight's game yet, but I'm impressed. I mean, this offense has the ability to really carry that team. I mean, Windsor looked like they almost had kind of a magical start to the season. They were getting things rolling and right, and then you come out tonight and Festus just kind of shows like, hey, yeah, you can have a good season, but you got to remember we're still top dog around here. We're going to create some fight and some havoc. And I think, on the plus side for Windsor, maybe it's the wake-up call they need to get back to work a little bit and continue this run. But I think on the flip side, it also just shows, when Festus does what they're training to do and run the ball with Smith, they're going to be a tough team to take down.
Well, I agree. And if you look, the Windsor team, obviously 2-0 non-conference games, but now, they had a little more of a dose of the JCA large school reality tonight. Right. Now, when you measure success in this game, I don't think that Coach Freeman for Windsor is going to look at necessarily the scoreboard. He's going to look at growth and execution and some of the other things as positive as he's trying to build this program up. So, right. When you looked at it objectively, you knew that there was a long shot for Windsor to win tonight. But, hopefully there are some grains, some kernels there that they can take away from this experience tonight and set to work next week.
You're right on. I mean, I think for Windsor too, starting next week fast, will be good for them as far as get back to their game plan, do what they do well. To your point, build off of the successes from tonight. It wasn't an overall win, but they didn't do everything bad. They were still, able to put points on the board, have some, offense showcased. And so next week, don't just let it be all for naught. Sometimes we talk about like, it's no fun to lose. I'm not going to pretend. No one goes out there and says, hey, we want to lose. But the reality is that you can learn from that failure and that loss. And it's either going to make you a better team moving forward, or you're just going to crumble under the pressure and continue to fold. And so if I'm coach, I'm just looking at it going, okay, how are my guys going to respond? What is their attitude in practice this week? Are they really going at it? Are they really, taking their opportunities to learn and grow? Or are they just kind of throwing in the towel? And that's going to tell me what the hope is for the season.
And, well, you said it exactly right, because when you're trying to rebuild a program and they're used to not having a lot of success, it's one of those things, and you hit the nail on the head, where the first sign of adversity, how are they going to react? Are they going to say, okay, here we go again? We're going to end up with the same season and the same effort, and we're fighting this uphill battle all the time. Or are they going to go, wait a minute, there's some things that we could do here to keep better, keep getting improved. I hate to use the cliche, trust the process with a new coach and new program to put in. It's a kind of one of those points, those turning points that could be a turning point in a program. You've got a new regime in place.
No, I completely agree. And I think that's why you want to see the fight. You want to see more so, for me, even less about the next game. I mean, obviously, you want to go in with a game plan, you want to win the game, but I want to see what you do in practice this week. Like, I want to see you get after each other and show me that you're changing the attitude and the thought process behind the school and the program itself. Really build something. You have an opportunity as a student athlete right here, especially the older classmen, to really kind of reestablish a new tradition and build this program and really just kind of take it on your shoulders and say, hey, I'm not going to leave it the same as when I got here. We're going to be better, and I'm going to show you how to do this, because I'm going to work hard when nobody's watching, so that when the cameras are on, if I shine in their success, that's not going to be the only time. It's going to be the work that I put in.
Exactly. Now, we had a game also, Cap, with Jefferson beating Herky 35-7. Really a score not indicative of the fight and the grit in that game on both teams. It felt, as you watch the game, like it was much closer. The Blue Jays had the benefit of a couple of lucky breaks in the game, a scoop and score, but what you saw in a Herky team, which has now lost, I think, 5 of the last 6 against the Blue Jays, is they went down swinging. They played hard until the final, whistle. This was a classic, first aid box game. You had guys going down left and right, guys limping off the field. They had the back judge go down in that game with it. He got shaken up a little bit, was down on the field for a while. So, plenty of ice and Band-Aids tonight. But on the bright side for Herculaneum, they're 0-3, but there was an incredible amount of fight in those kids in grit. And that's to be applauded, because I think that bodes well for the future.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's almost the same thing. You hate sometimes to see the scores the way they are when they kind of seem like these blowouts, because, when you're just looking at scores, you're just looking at number sheets. You don't always get the full picture of what it looks like in the game. And sometimes, because even talking about, again, Hazelwood Central in the game that I was calling with Eureka, like, I think there was some very positive things for them to walk away with. And you talk about the same thing here in this game. I know the outcome for Herculaneum wasn't what it was, but there were some good things in the game for them. I think it was some turnovers, like you said, that really ended up making the score wider. But you got to give a lot of credit to Jefferson. You've got to be able to take advantage of those, and you don't lack. If somebody drops the football in front of you, then my goodness, pick it up and run with it.
Exactly. And I think, well, Ray, we've got Matt Bates here coming up. Hopefully we'll have Matt coming on.
Yeah, he's getting himself set up here, so we'll wait for him. That's okay.
Okay, yeah. It sounds like one of the old call-in shows, guys. But back in the day, is the caller there? Turn your radio down, sir.
Right.
Please turn your radio down, Matt.
He's getting himself all set up here. So. I do have a call in from Bill Saharsky. We're going to see if he will actually use the link and to where we can actually talk to him here. If not, we'll give him a call here, because depending on where he's at, that could be a hairy spot. So I understand. Let's jump over here real quick. You guys can feel free to stay on here real quick, but I'm going to jump over here and grab Matt. We'll talk a little bit about the Festus Windsor game there. Big win for Festus again. And Matt, give us a little insight on the game.
Well, really, it was, when because Festus doesn't provide their offensive numbers, I'll let the cat out of the bag and just say it was the Lawantre Williams show tonight, scoring 3 touchdowns. At halftime, he had 5 carries for 82 yards. But what I was able to see up front from Festus was really that they've got a 1A and a 1B offense. That Essien Smith comes out, runs 1A. Parker Perry comes out, runs 1B. And what I'm getting at with that is so let's say back in the day when you were watching the Rams in their heyday with the greatest show on turf, that you could take and you could rotate like Warner out with another quarterback. You could take Torrey Holt out, work in like Oz Hakeem, work in another receiver, where you were going with essentially like a cut and paste offense, not like, wow, how do I replace this guy? You're replacing the same guy with the same guy. And that's what you saw on that Festus defense. And I'm looking at, Williams, the way they were, really, you're just looking at toss sweeps that are going around the end. Windsor's defense had no answer for it. And they knew it was coming. They just couldn't stop it. The kicker was a 71-yard punt return by Russell, that they had gone up 7-0, and they got Windsor to go like on a 3-and-out, and like next possession they punt, and this kid reels off a 79-yard punt return and delivered Windsor like a gut punch to make it 14-0. And I tell you what, it was just like watching Festus impose their will the rest of the night. And as you hear Beak and I talking during the game, I'm just like, I don't know what else Coach Freeman could do in his playbook to really open things up, because really outside some runs and some toss sweeps, that was like what was in the arsenal for the Windsor Owls. But I got to tell you though, 4 quarters, you're Landon Robbins, your Logan Wilsons. You've got a short like 5 senior class on that Windsor side. Duranja, Evan Wessels on the offensive line. I'm telling you right now, Logan Wilson, had you not been at the game and you see his stat line, looks kind of modest. He got Windsor off the donut. But I got to tell you, the young man was taking shots all night long and got the bleep knocked out of him. Like every time he had the ball, whether it was returning a kickoff, whether it was a handoff up the middle, how he held in there all night, I don't know. But I got to tell you right now, the Windsor Owls, they did not quit. To their credit. They were coming in 2-0. Been a while since they'd been that way. They had lost to the Tigers 13 straight games. So on a Friday the 13th, I thought, how apropos would it be for them to break that against Festus, but to no avail. But I got to tell you, though, the Windsor Owls put up 4 quarters against a tough Festus team. So whoever has Festus on their schedule, because I know in a couple of weeks there's going to be like Festus Windsor or a Festus Hillsboro coming up. So that's going to be a barn burner, because I got to tell you, seeing Festus up in personal, these guys start with Max Shermer, and then you work your way on down. Everybody, your Rob Turners, they sing it and they bring it, and that's what Festus did tonight.
Sounds like going to be a good one there coming up here in a couple weeks. So how great was it to be in the monsoon of rain? Because I turned it on, I guess it was the middle of 3rd quarter or something like that, and you could almost not even make out numbers because it was raining so bad.
It was lovely. Rain was blowing in, and God forbid they have a canopy, there at the press box, because the rain that was even coming straight down from the press box was blowing in, but had like there been just like a modest canopy over the top. But yeah, I mean, it came not as bad as our Seckman Oakville game last year, Ray.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that one was a bad one.
But picture even just like a more modest rain still just blowing right in at you inside the box, where notes are getting wet, everything's getting wet, and Beak and I were just like, how do we keep Ray's equipment safe?
Yes, thank you.
Nobody wants to get fired for equipment burning up. So I mean, but it went from like totally humid. Everything's getting moist, and then all of a sudden the flag starts whipping up. This trickle down rain that we had, all of a sudden, turned into heavy downpour. And glad that we got this opportunity tonight as well, because if nobody tuned in to the Orange Channel tonight, that was something that Drake and we had chatted about, was because Patterson's one of the few quarterbacks left in the area that goes directly under center.
Okay.
And so you'd seen that up and close and personal with me my 4 years there at Herky, that that was still back in the day when like your shotgun snap wasn't on the regular, your quarterback still went in under center. But seeing these new artificial turfs, you got synthetic turfs, even these new leather balls have got that synthetic, what I call kind of like plastic spray coating over the top of them. Yeah. Where I use the analogy of like when you go to the store and you get like tomatoes or you get apples from the produce and there's that wax on the outside.
Yeah.
So even if you got this light mist coming down, those new balls, if they haven't been what I call cured or played with properly, just my snap to you just being underneath me, the ball is already slick, wet enough. And so that just that quarterback center exchange is going to be precarious. So once you start handing off now, or you try fielding a kickoff, anything like that, thing is just slippery to where I was bringing up that, like, Jack Heath, center for Windsor, like should have asked the referee, like right off the bat, can you change out like one of the older balls, maybe not a real beat up practice ball, but something that's held up to the elements, because that slicky surface on these new balls, they look nice, but you're going to have the problems on both sides of the ball. Right. And you saw that because even Festus, when they started even bringing in their 1B offense, we're still having issues on that quarterback center exchange or from the quarterback to the running back. So, but that was something that became a thing, and it's something that you don't really count on or really can practice until it comes into fruition during the game. But it was unique, and I got to tell you, I could have done without the rain, but hey, we got through it though.
There you go. Scott and I were over at Herky, and the rain came down a couple times. He goes, "Now we're playing football." So I understand everybody's got a little different outlook at that.
And Ray, and that's really like the only thing that can keep like these high school games back to what you call like football again, because as you morph into these artificial turfs, you don't get the mud, the slop, anything like that. And let me say this: I'm all about player safety. But the rain that was coming down wasn't impacting anybody. Right. But I would totally agree with that. It felt like just being in some of the elements again. It kind of like in Shawshank Redemption, where it's like getting on the outside of prison, or on the rooftop having a beer with your friends, where it's like you just felt good to be like out in the elements again. Like I felt human again, and that's what it felt like. But I could have done without as much of it though. Great stuff tonight.
Just a little bit less. I got it. Stick around here real quick. I'm going to go through the scores one more time. We're really, I'm kind of at a loss here. Last week we had such a great turnout of coaches. We've only had one so far. So that may have a lot to do with the games getting done a little later here. So we're willing to, wait it out here just a little bit here. But let me recap here real quick. Festus, again, beating Windsor 49-14. Jefferson 35, Herculaneum 7, Eureka 37, Hazelwood Central nothing, Hillsborough 37, Washington 7, North County 42, DeSoto 14, St. Vincent 29, Perryville 25, Bayless, they were in the fourth quarter leading 34-30 over Crystal City. Still really early, so I'm sure this is a final by now or getting close to it there between Knob Noster and St. Pius at the end of the second quarter. It was 8-2. Summit defeats Oakville 28-25. Seckman defeats Northwest 41-7. Let me throw this over back to Jeff if we have possibly any at all any more updates.
Still working on that right now, Ray. I'll keep you posted. You guys keep talking. I'll keep researching.
All right. We got Kaplinger on the call here too, and Kaplinger got lucky. Did you not get any rain over there?
I mean, we got rain. It was, like I said, it was raining a little bit before the game started at Eureka, but it was a light rain, like nothing heavy.
Yeah.
And then we had a nice game all the way till about the 8-minute mark in the fourth quarter. And we got a little bit of a shower, and I would say a steady, heavy rain, but not the monsoon that you guys are talking about down there where you were. We didn't have a lot of wind. Maybe I got the lucky draw there, Matt, and got the press box that does have the canopy, so I wasn't getting
he did.
any rain on my face.
He's shaking his head. I see him over here. He's like, "Dadgummit."
And so really, and again, the game was pretty much in hand. Eureka had the ball in a running clock situation, so they were very content just to hand the ball off. And so it kind of went quickly. I think the worst of it was really just maybe the humor of it too, was just watching some of the fans who didn't anticipate rain scrambling when it started.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I mean, you either come prepared or just plan on getting wet, and that's usually.
I got you, Matt.
There you go. So, hold on, Matt. I got you muted here, so let me open that microphone up for you there, Matt. What you got?
So, B-Caps, remember week 1 there out at Hillsboro, that mist that came down early on?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, well, picture that like a little bit harder. Not the monsoon that we had as we were leaving. That was a monsoon. We had that steady, like, light drizzle, and it just kept coming down. But no, it added up over time, but it wasn't like that dump job that we got when we were heading away from Hillsboro there at that week 1.
Yeah,
but just to clarify, and glad you got a canopy too, brother.
Yeah, they're taking care of me, man. At Eureka, I mean, they give me a nice spot right there. Got a good view. Got to shout out Eureka. I mean, they're treating us well out there. We had a full house. I had a couple of trainees on the production side, and Josh Wicks and Elijah Partney, but they were killing it. Couple little snafus here or there, but that's to be expected early on. But I mean, did a great job, and we stayed dry. I don't know what to tell you. It wasn't like the Oakville game. I was with you, Matt and Ray, when we were holding the tent down from going anywhere on that one.
I think we packed in about 75 or 80 sardines, little teeny boppers that are trying to keep themselves out of there.
Ray turned around.
I was not a happy camper when I saw that.
What
is going on behind me?
Banging into us, and Ray turns around and like, oh my God, we're like 5 deep.
Right. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. So. I do have a phone call that I'm going to make. I'm going to make a phone call here to Bill Saharsky because I know they got their first win over at Hillsboro. So let me put you guys on hold for a quick second here, and I'm going to try to get Bill Saharsky on the line here real quick. We'll see if we can work this out here, and we did it like this last week too. So,
hey Ray.
Hey Coach, how you doing? Bill Saharsky on the line here. Finally got that big win there. So tell us a little about the game today.
Your kids came out really well first half defensively. Our opening drive, we got a stop against them, and we took it down, I don't know, around the 10 or 15, and we've been fumbling the ball. Can't fault the kid. He's fighting for extra yards and in the rain and everything, and put it on the ground. But defense responded, and our other 3 drives in the first half were coming with touchdowns and going 21-0 at half, and we're able to be up 37-0 at the end of the third, and we get some young kids in the game in the fourth quarter and everything, and end up winning 37-7. But all around defense played outstanding. Special teams created some turnovers in the kicking game, and offensively we were able to kind of spread the ball around with 4 or 5 different guys scoring touchdowns for us tonight.
Well, good job. I know you had 2 pretty tough ones there in the first 2 weeks, and to get that first W for the 24 season. I know, give us maybe a little bit of some highlights on, just things that you guys were doing well as a whole.
Defensively, rally and running the football. A lot of kids around the football. Washington, they're a team that was was trying to establish the run game based on film, and our kids were able to come out and stuff that right away. And and with the weather, it's harder than throw the ball and this type of stuff. So
Yeah.
really kind of made them, one dimensional in terms of them having to go to the pass, but at the same time with the weather, that was hard for them to do. So just hats off to those guys to really run, and Abel played a really good game both offensively and defensively, and Chris Duncan had a great game for us on the backfield, and I had a kickoff return for a touchdown.
Nice.
Preston was Preston, so he hit Keith Pittman's for a big touchdown pass.
That Brown kid got another touchdown, huh?
Yeah. So it was, like I said, it was a good round, all around team win. Obviously the turnover on the opening drive, was a little bit disappointing, but our kids came back and went three and out for forced the punt, and like I said, played really well defensively.
Any injuries to talk about?
No, nothing that made. I mean, it's a football game, so we got kids that mix and max, and come to get ice and rest up this weekend, and we'll see them on Monday and rest up. But nothing, we didn't have anything major or anything like that. So
awesome. Well, congrats on the win here, and we'll talk to you next week as well.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
All right, Coach Bill Saharsky from the Hillsboro Hawks coming in, and nobody jumping back on here again real quick. So I'm going to throw it back over to Matt Bates. Matthew, let me open up your microphone here real quick. Are we surprised at an 0-2 Hillsboro team? That's my question, number one. And, what can they do now to kind of get back in the swing of things?
Well, starting off 0-2, I mean, it was something that when you looked at their schedule, what was plausible, just as much as it was maybe being 2-0. But when you're starting off with an MICDS and you're looking at a slew, I think, like, if you took the microphones and the cameras back away from everybody, even Coach Bill, like 1-1 was probably where you would have probably forecasted everything at. But if Washington then comes in and takes care of business and you go to 0-3, yeah, you got a different set of problems. You got a lot of other stuff that you're going to have to address as a coach and from your personnel on down. So I think getting that win tonight over Washington, I'm not going to say it was big. I'm going to say it was huge. It was huge.
Right.
And I think, when you're talking a program coming in that was the number 2 4A school in the state. And, the last thing you want to do is turn around, go 0-3 and, kind of almost starting now to doubt yourself, because that's what will creep in. Once you keep seeing that donut of whatever you are on the season, that like, okay, what do we have to do? What do we need to fix? And you think you're doing it week in and week out. So I think that was huge for the Hawks as a collective unit to, like what Windsor did tonight, finally getting that touchdown to break the donut, get the 0 off the board in whatever category it is. So I think now the Hawks can kind of take a deep breath, kind of like regroup, if you will, now get ready to move on and play. So, I was looking at some of the scores a little earlier, and it was like the DeSoto North County game, I think, because at one point wasn't that sucker like 14-6, something like that.
Yep.
And then North County apparently just turned on the juice and ran away with that.
Yeah. They woke up.
And then I was looking at the Crystal City game, Crystal Bayless, which I had that circled with the Hornets going 3-0. And apparently Bayless, the Broncos, wanted to steal my money I had on the line at Vegas. Wasn't none too happy about that. So there was a couple games there, and then like seeing Perryville coming back, because that was another thing that Beak and we were chatting about, that the momentum that was gained from the win, because it was kind of like a twofold thing. The momentum that Perryville had from 3 3/4 worth of football against DeSoto.
Right.
How do they move forward next week? And I was also like, how does DeSoto build on the momentum they had from that final 3.5 minutes against Perryville? Because I got to tell you right now, Perryville was not expecting Tebow and Missy to rack off a combined 135 yards on 2 carries in the final 3.5 minutes. And everybody was like, what the heck just happened?
Right.
I was in the same boat.
Right.
And so to see them tonight at one, I guess they were heading into halftime. We had them like 14-6. And I looked at Beacon. I just said, hey, I said, don't sleep on it. I said, but if anything, if from what I've seen so far, DeSoto's going to give you 4 quarters.
Yeah.
And, they might stub their toe along the way, but whatever happened down at North County, good Lord, because we're in for a doozy next week as Beacon and I will be at the borough for North County Hillsborough.
Yep. There you have it. Yep. I do have the final scores. Jeff, is this complete final scores? I lost your.
Is that the first one or the second one I sent you?
The second one here. So
okay, the second one is the good one.
All right, here we go. These are the absolute final scores.
That's the first one, Ray.
Oh shoot. Okay, well, give me just a quick second and talk amongst yourselves. I feel verklempt.
I'm going to talk about Knob Noster.
Okay.
Just because I wanted to say Knob Noster again, and
no, I haven't.
But does that surprise anybody that thing was like 8-2 at one point? Like,
yeah, yeah.
And Pius ekes it out 22-14. Really?
How about that? Right? Yeah. Well, and you took a look at the Bayless Crystal City, the same thing there. Crystal was ahead for a little while. Same thing for the Perryville game. Perryville was ahead for a little while. But here's our final scores: 49-14 Festus over Windsor. Jefferson 35, Herculaneum 7, Eureka 37, Hazelwood Central 0, Hillsborough 37, Washington 7, North County 42, DeSoto 14. Oh, I do have a coach coming in here. So Adam Sims, hang loose, and we'll get you just a quick second here. St. Vincent 29, Perryville 25, Bayless 34, Crystal City 30, St. Pius 22, Knob Noster 14, Summit 28, Oakville 25, Seckman 41, Northwest 7. And then the other 2 games are Saturday. Adam Sims, we're going to bring Adam on here real quick. Let me pull him up here real quick. Adam Sims, how you doing, Coach?
I'm doing all right.
Well, you dropped one there. You dropped one, unfortunately, there to Bayless. There, take us through the game a little bit, there, Coach.
Yeah, we got up to a lead, and then it started raining. And I'm not trying to make excuses by any means or anything like that. The game just kind of started. We fumbled the ball, and they got back into it. That's a good ball club over there. So I don't know if it was homecoming, if it was the weather, if it was just not our night. But we have a group of kids that battle each and every week, and they put their heart on the line. And we talked about it at the end of the game. It did not fall our way, but I couldn't be more proud of the group we have. We're small in numbers, but everything we had, and I saw kids tonight that they put everything they had on the line, and hopefully we'll get back to work on Monday and be for Confluence at our place. We would have liked to have a homecoming victory, but we didn't. It didn't work out in our end, but it wasn't because we didn't put a 20 yard line. We had 4 seconds left, and we threw the ball up, and unfortunately we weren't able to get the ball, score the touchdown to go up right at the end of the game. But it was a night that we will learn from, and we will take what happened and build off of it and continue to grow as a team. And I look forward to, this week and what happened this week and what happened next week, building off of it, like I said, and just get ready for Confluence next week. And then as we get deeper into our schedule, it doesn't seem to get any easier, but I think and they show each and every week. I got coaches coming to me and saying, "Man, you guys fight hard," and I couldn't be more proud of the group we have.
Yeah, yeah. Coach, give us maybe a update. Any injuries, and we're hoping you say no.
I'm not going to say that we're going to have a full team ready to go. We are kind of banged up, but it's not because our kids are relentless. Even if they come off the field, can we get back in? I mean, we literally have to say, hey, you're fine. We need you week 8, 9, 10. We'll be all right. And so right now, I would say that it's going to kind of a slower homecoming for some tomorrow night, but I think we're going to be to go, and we'll have everybody back on Monday.
Good. That's good to hear there, especially, going into week 4. So you just fight to live another week, right?
Yeah. Like I said, these guys, since week 1, we've talked about how do we manage, nobody's 100%. No football feel like is 100% right now. And as the season ends, as the season progresses, you just have to figure out and learn from your body and figure out how to try to stay as healthy as you can. And fortunately, I think we're at the point where we are healthy as we can be for week 4 of football.
Well, we appreciate you calling in, and you dropped one there to Bayless 34-30, and I'm sure we'll catch up with you next week on another week.
I appreciate your coverage. Thank you.
Thanks so much there. That's Adam Sims there as we jump right back here into the fearsome foursome here. Guys.
Hey, have you noticed, guys, tonight, we've had a couple coaches call in with their phone right there in front of them with the darkness. It's just fitting for Friday the 13th. That looks like something out of a scary movie there,
Yeah. Waiting for something to pop out behind him.
Yeah.
Well, I had my Friday the 13th shirt on tonight underneath this, expecting, a little less humidity than what we had. And I had to peel that thing off and wring it out a few times. So it's still drying out. But, oh, yeah. Man, oh, man. But you hear Coach Sims talking, and, as much as I wanted to hear about, like, the night that Evan Wolf had, I like how he just talked about the collective team effort, and he knows the gut punch that happened tonight, that, he doesn't want to blame the weather, but I'm telling you right now, again, that's a thing that makes things happen that aren't in your control. Like, again, normally probably it was a quarterback running back exchange, or quarterback looking to maybe throw the ball and it slips out of his hands, something like that, where whatever rain that was that came down, again, you're just like, oh my gosh, okay, here we go. How do we hold on? What do we do to just, keep the ship afloat? And again, all it takes is like a turnover or two. Next thing you know, Bayless rings up. It sounds like a couple touchdowns, and you're just scratching your head where you're like, I don't want to blame Mother Nature, but, but had she not reared her ugly head again, we could be 3-0 instead of 2-1.
Right. I get it. I just dropped something. Oops.
Well said there.
Well, we're going to throw up the sketch or the finals one more time and get out of here because Kaplinger and I got an early rise tomorrow to the Mizzou game. So I know we were planning on bringing you, Matt, because I know you love the Mizzou Tigers so much. So there you go. So,
right. I'm gonna hydrate.
He's gonna hydrate. Now, if it was the Tennessee Volunteers, I think you'd be back, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I would definitely have been invited, or I would have been saying, "Hey, we're going."
Okay, there you go. All right.
Right.
Guys, thanks so much tonight. We're gonna throw up the. Let me throw this up here myself here real quick because I wanted to make sure I got the right. There it is. That is. Oop. Let me get rid of that. There it is. We've got it there. 49-14, 35-7, 37-0, 37-7, 42-14, 29-25. Bayless 34, Crystal City 30. Knob Noster drops to Pius 22-14. Oakville drops to Summit 28-25. Seckman goes 3-0. They're 41-7 win over Northwest. Grandview, Cuba, and Fox at Rittner tomorrow. And we call it a night here for week 3 of the Friday Night Blitz post game. Gentlemen, appreciate you for sticking it out here. It's right at 11, so we're going to cap it off here and get some rest, and we'll be a little MIZ tomorrow for Kaplinger and I. So, guys, thanks so much for being with us.
Take care. Week 3 is in bed. We put it to bed.
We put week 3 to bed. There you go. So, Ray Halbrook for Brian Kaplinger, Matt Bates, and Jeff Whitener. All of us here at Livestream STL, thanks so much for watching Friday Night Blitz post-game show. We'll see you next week. Thanks for watching today's broadcast. Any unauthorized use of this broadcast without the express written consent of Livestream STL is strictly prohibited.